This is Goku-san DBZ, and welcome back. This is a new best to worst video, in case you were wondering. And this time around, I'm going to be ranking, at least, these are exclusively only handheld game devices that I personally own. I'll be ranking my opinion from weakest to strongest, but keep in mind this is my own personal opinion. Like I said, it's only ones I actually have collected over the years. With that said, total there are 8. So we'll start at number 8 and get our way to number 1. And I hope you enjoy the music in the background from Mirror's Edge, The Catalyst. With that said, here comes in at number 8. Is a handheld game device. It's less well known, and it's no surprise because this device was exclusively only released in Japan, so you'd either have to buy off of a seller in America that deals in imports, or you would have to get imported from Japan, obviously. In its total lifespan, this device, if I remember correctly, sold somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million total units sold in Japan. This game device is known as the Bandai WonderSwan. Now, just in case you don't know, this was created by the grandfather or father of Game Boy. He created Game Boy. He also created the not so popular Virtual Boy, and that is, of course, Gunpei Yokoi was the one who created the Bandai WonderSwan. Bandai decided at one time they wanted to try get their feet into the console or handheld gaming market. And this device will end up having things like, I believe, 6 Digimon games, which is no surprise given who owns the copyrights of Digimon? Bandai. So it's not really a surprise. But this is an original model. However, there was 3 versions of this release. Unfortunately, I do not have the 3rd version, which actually has a backlit screen. And that is called the WonderSwan Crystal. But I do have also the color background version. This is the standard, and then this is called the Bandai WonderSwan Color. And like it said, this is also a variant one, actually. This is a Final Fantasy edition Bandai WonderSwan. And speaking of, in the back here, we have a copy of the original Final Fantasy that was released on the WonderSwan color. But this comes in at number 8. Coming in at number 7 is one that probably many people would actually have much higher on the list than number 7. But this is my own personal picks, keep in mind with that. Coming at number 7 is from the Nintendo, and it is the Game Boy Color. Now, this is a Pokemon edition Game Boy Color, and neon, yeah, and of course, a copy of Pokemon Yellow Pikachu Edition, which is probably about my favorite Pokemon game of all time, in my opinion. But yeah, the Game Boy Color was pretty cool. I didn't really like the bulkiness of the original version of the original Game Boy, but I did like the overall design better of the Game Boy Color model. And I love the fact you have Pikachu and then, of course, Pichu on the front in bright neon orange. But yeah, this comes in at number 7. As I said, many people probably have the Game Boy Color higher up than number 7 of the 8. Coming in at number 6 is one that probably a lot of people would actually have higher, or lower, probably at the bottom, because a lot of people have actually never even tried this. Coming in at number 6 is the Sega Game Gear, made by Sega. And yeah, this is quite the bulky handheld, especially given it actually gobbled up 6 AA batteries just to power it. Now, the good thing about this is It also has actually a plug-in spot to where you could actually plug in like the power cord for a Model 2 Sega Genesis power AV cord. You could actually plug in this. So that was a way to play without having to zap all the battery life if you wanted to play the Game Gear at home. Now, unlike, of course, Game Boy Color and stuff, this actually does have a backlit screen, which is quite fascinating. Of course, you have a jack spot for your headphones, volume control, and there was quite a few different attachments you could add, like a device you could plug in that allow you to play radio and even try get local television stations. Because they even had like rabbit ear, which is quite interesting, I might add. But yes, coming in number 6 is the Sega Game Gear. Coming in at number 5. Not sure where a lot of people probably have this higher. This is also Nintendo. It was the first handheld Nintendo with actually a backlit screen. Coming in at number 5. The Game Boy Advance SP. Which, to be fair, the D-pad's not too bad. Of course, you only have 2 buttons, unfortunately. Then you have a control here that allow you to control the brightness. Now, one flaw I felt with this handheld was, now the cool thing is this was the first one with built-in battery pack that you could just recharge. That was good with the backlit screen also was nice, but there was no plug-in thing for your headphones in for some reason this, even though Game Boy Color and stuff had headphone jacks. Why they didn't have headphone jacks in the ESP, I do not know. Coming in at number 4 is a device I get the feeling a lot of people would probably have number 1 on them, but anyways, these are my ranks. Coming in at number 4 is the Nintendo 3DS, or New 3DS as it's called. You know, the screen's not quite as big as like the XL, but still it is larger than the original. And also, I like the coloration better of the buttons, because it's kind of like a tribute, you could say coloration-wise, to the Super Famicom original colors for their controllers. Now, one thing I do say is the D-pad is actually not too bad on this, but I'm not a big fan of the joystick design on this. I mean, it's not bad, and it's good at least it has like a rubber thing, so it doesn't slip easy with your finger, and that's good. But still, it kind of annoys me at times, this joystick, when you're trying to play like RPGs or some like Kingdom Hearts. I don't really like that design as much, honestly. It's still not bad, and it certainly is an improvement. And I do like at least now it has like 4 back buttons. That's one nice thing about it too. And overall, I do really like it, honestly. I do think it's better than the original model. Coming in at number 3. Yeah, this is gonna give me probably some hate, but whatever. Coming in at number 3 is the Nintendo DS, the original DS. And I decided to keep this one, or DS Lite if you will, because one of the cool things I did like about it is the fact you could plug Game Boy Advance games in it, not just DS but also Advance. And that's cool because some of my favorite Game Boy games or handheld Nintendo games were for the Advance. So, which is cool. And yeah, I do like the fact adding the Star Wars stuff with Vader. That's pretty sweet. But yeah, this comes at number 3. Now coming in at number 2, which is probably gonna be somewhat controversial, but whatever. Coming in at number 2 is the PlayStation Vita. Hands on comes in second place. Some might ask, why on earth would this be so high? Well, one, as I've mentioned, of course you've noticed, is I have been recently started really collecting, because I feel Vita games are good, and this is by far the best handheld if you're looking to play a FPS game because of the double joysticks. And honestly, I like the double joysticks on the Vita. I think they are the best joysticks of any handheld, personally. But that's just my own opinion, keep in mind. But also, I love the interactiveness. For instance, the whole touchscreen gimmicks, I actually do like quite a bit. And I always have been a big fan of the overall layout and design of this handheld. And I love the selection of games. Not to mention the fact they did release where you could download on, of course, PSN and get Jet Run Radio, given that's one of my favorite Dreamcast games. But yes, this comes in at number 2, so it's probably no surprise now I'll figure out which is number 1. Number 1 is the PSP, or PlayStation Portable. Hands down, for me personally, is my all-time favorite handheld. I like the overall design of the buttons. I actually don't mind this D-pad. I actually think the D-pad's not bad. And even though the joystick is not great on this one, I like the texture better on the cover of the joystick. But what really puts this at number 1 for me is the game library. I mean, Square showed a lot of love to this handheld. I mean, I probably own at least 7 Square Enix games on this. And of course, my all-time favorite Kingdom Hearts game is on this, so that doesn't hurt its chances also. And the fact you could also download on here the SD card, you could download music onto it and everything, which is also pretty awesome. One thing I like about this. And I actually liked the UMD, though a lot of people didn't like the UMD. But I mean, I've had this for like almost 8 years and it still runs perfectly to this day. You can't say that about a lot of handhelds. And I actually like the L and R buttons on the top as well. But really does it for me personally is just how much I actually like the game library on this. And it has some really solid fine games. But yeah, I've always really liked this. Just the opening and everything, the back end, I think it's cool. And I love the design of the UMDs. I think that's actually really cool. But anyways, that is my personal top 10 favorite handhelds of all time, at least that I have collected thus far. With that said, this is Goku-san DBZ signing out, and stay tuned in the future for a list I will be ranking my consoles. But I thought I'd do handhelds first over consoles. But with that said, I'll get ready to cut this video. See y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel.